As we approached the release of the new Batman movie, I started thinking about my memories with the Batman franchise and thought about how when I was a little kid I grew up with Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, and even the 1989 version of Batman with Michael Keaton. And my hype for this new Batman, I can't wait, because throughout all the Batmans, there's always been some problem with it, and so far, this one just seems perfect to me. We've got Robert Pattinson as Batman, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Paul Dano as the Riddler, Colin Farrell as Penguin, Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, and the director from Planet of the Apes, Matt Reeves. That cast had a lot of controversy when it was released because people were saying that on some hand, the casting was perfect for a lot of people. Then on the other hand, there was a lot of controversy about someone like Robert Pattinson coming off of the Twilight movies, coming quote-unquote off of the Twilight movies, like that happened yesterday when really it happened years ago. If someone like that could play Batman. But since the beginning, I never had a problem with him because I always saw him as someone who could play a Batman, especially if he was younger. When he found out that Matt Reeves was going for a younger Batman, I was like, that sounds perfect. And then I watched Christopher Nolan's Tenet, and Robert Pattinson was perfect in that movie. So I'm very excited to see his interpretation. But on the other hand, you had casting in this that almost everybody was 100% on board with since the beginning. Like Paul Dano's Riddler seems perfect casting, and especially Jeffrey Wright's Commissioner Gordon. Honestly, I don't think this has potential to be one of the best Commissioner Gordons we've ever seen in live action. So, I want to talk about what I know about the movie so far. I'm not going to talk about any plot points because I know a lot of people don't like that. And I really just want to talk about like what I've heard like from the movie from a cinematic standpoint. So, the movie's been in work for a few years. And from what I've seen is, since the movie has been released and before that, when the press screenings have happened, it's been receiving really good reviews. I know Matt Reeves, the director, has described it as dark and borderline horror. And that, at first, shocked a lot of people, but in reality, the character of Batman is this glooming vigilante who, basically, from the perspective of the criminals, haunts Gotham City with his presence. And I remember when the rating, the age rating for the movie came out, and it was PG-13, a lot of people were surprised, and some people were upset because with this description, people were like, this movie has to be rated R. But it's PG-13 for obvious reasons, you know, they want to reach a larger audience to make more money, but that doesn't bother me because we've seen what Matt Reeves has done with Planet of the Apes with a PG-13 rating, and that movie's just masterpiece, master cinema right there. So I'm still absolutely excited for this movie, and to have the idea of a horror, dark, psychological thriller mystery with the Riddler, that's an epic combination. And if we've seen images from the trailers of traps that the Riddler uses and just messed up ways that the Riddler, you know, gets his victims, and that's gonna be really good. Matt Reeves is creating a lived-in Gotham where every building and set piece has a story to tell us. That's something that I feel like we haven't gotten since Tim Burton's Batman. We have the Zack Snyder films, which have featured Batman, but none of them really show us a Gotham City. Like, the Gotham cities that they show us are all just a dark, you know, New York-style city. Or even, Christopher Nolan's Batman, which has received rave reviews throughout the years and is some people's favorite superhero trilogy of all time, that Gotham City is just basically Chicago. There's like no story that it's telling. The last time we had a Gotham with a lived-in, the Gotham that's basically a character, was George Clooney's Batman. And even if you don't like Batman and Forever and Batman and Robin, that Gotham City still had some character to it. Whether you liked the character or not, it still had character, you know? But now that we're seeing Matt Reeves doing a Gotham City and saying, you know, I'm not going to do what the DCU is going for, I'm not going to do what Warner Brothers want me to do, I want to do what I have envisioned for Gotham, and we're seeing like a Batman the Animated Series style, lived-in, film noir Gotham City with old architecture buildings and just red sky, you know, like it's just, it's an atmosphere that Gotham is creating for this mystery movie that's going to be incredible if it lives up to the reviews and lives up to the description. Also, one thing that is extremely exciting is it's not a year one Batman movie, it's Batman in his second year, which is almost the perfect time to start a trilogy at this point, considering we've had multiple Batman already, we've seen origin many times already. And one thing that you do when you have the first movie, you have an origin to the hero and you have an origin to maybe the villain. But now it's the second year, so he's still not experienced very well. He's still a novice, like he would be in a beginner movie. But he has a rogues gallery built up already. Maybe not complete, but he's still already building up a rogues gallery, and this world is a little bit more lived in than it would have been if it was just his first year. So we're going to see a Gotham where there are already criminals in Arkham. Police already know who Batman is. They may not like him, but they already know who he is. Criminals are already fearing him on the streets, but he exists. People know him, and the villains exist. Gotham is not in a good place right now. There's corruption. There's just fear, general fear, and Batman is gonna try to shake that up a little bit. What I want to happen is a contained story. The DCU is all over the place, and I feel like there have been a couple of good ones. Shazam, Shazam, really. Oh, Shazam, the Suicide Squad, but all of those are like kind of separated. Like Shazam has references, but it's kind of separated. And the Suicide Squad is like almost completely separated. I mean, it's a reboot of Suicide Squad from 2016, but it's almost completely separated. Every DC movie that has been like separated from this garbage cluster of a universe has been really good, in my opinion. We have The Dark Knight, which some people actually, I think, when you look at it honestly, it's not as great as everyone remembers it. The trilogy, I mean, The Dark Knight is a masterpiece, but the trilogy is not as great as everyone remembers it, but it still is incredible film. And then you have, Tim Burton's, great. Doesn't age exactly as well, but still, the point is you have really great DC movies when they're not connected to the story, and especially when the director can have his vision. And Matt Reeves, a director who's already showed us that his vision is clear, and he knows what he wants to do with this. I can just tell you, if Warner Brothers has given him free reign on this with this budget and said, look, we know what you can do, take it and run with it, then I can tell you that this director has what it takes, and this is possibly going to be the best Batman movie we've ever had, the best Batman we've ever had, the best Riddler, the best Catwoman, just the best overall Batman we've had. At the end of the day, I want to go into this with an open mind. I want to just throw away whatever the Rotten Tomato score is, throw away whatever critics say, whatever haters say, whatever fans say, and just make up my own mind for it. But right now, I have high expectations, and I'm really feeling that it's going to be really hard to fill. I'm very excited. So far I'm seeing the movie Friday, but I just wanted to put this video up to have pre-thoughts before I go see it. And then hopefully Friday night or Saturday morning after I get back from seeing it, I'll upload my thoughts after seeing the movie. Spoiler free, most likely, but we'll see when the time comes. Alright, thanks for watching. See you guys.